My name's Rowanne Wakefield-Payne and I have been a volunteer firefighter for 15 years. I am a mother of two boys aged 23 and 15. My oldest son lives in Mornington and every time we get a rescue call there, I am very anxious until we see the type of car. I've always encouraged my older son that if he goes out, he or his mates have been drinking and he's not sure of the driver, to give us a call. I would go and pick him up. They generally have a designated driver, but sometimes they leave early or the party goes in different directions. It is nothing for him to ring me in the early hours of the morning and ask, I go and pick him up. And I've made quite a few trips to Frankston and Mornington to pick him up, and a car full of his mates. It is a great feeling to know my son will do that and that they can all get home safely. And I'm sure that most parents would do the same thing. Dromana Fire Brigade has been an accredited rescue brigade since 1988. We have, on average, 45 calls a year. It is a great feeling working side by side with ambulance officers, helping people. On the other hand, it is devastating that these incidents, in most cases, have been caused by gross negligence or stupidity. Some rescues have taken over 2 hours of very hard work trying to remove twisted steel away from occupants of the car. In April 2004, I had one of the worst nights of my life because we were called to a rescue that occurred on the Mornington Peninsula Freeway at Dromana. It was at the end of my street that I lived in. I had to drive past the accident on the service road beside the freeway to get to the station. When we arrived at the scene of the car, I could hardly recognise. I started to think, I know that car, and I started to feel very sick. If it was the boy's car I thought it was, I knew it was going to affect most of Dromana because he was a very well-known and liked boy within Dromana. His family has lived in Dromana for a long time, and Dromana is a very close community. Matt was a very keen football player and played football since the age of 7. His mum told me that Matt lived every minute. She said he would never slow down, and when she said to him one day, "Have a rest," he said, "Mum, I can't. I have too much to do," as if he knew he only had a short lifespan. I went to primary school with this boy's mum, and my brother had grown up with his father. I started to feel very sick and distressed, although it wasn't confirmed that it was Matt. I've never had to leave the scene of an accident before, but I was getting too distressed to stay, and there was enough at the scene to cope with the job. The way I felt at that accident, I never want to feel again. It was just someone I knew. I could not imagine what it would be like to lose a family member, and I never want to know. The way I felt that night will still stick with me forever. There had been a fine misty rain and the road was like a mirror. With the reflection of the car lights, you could see that the surface of the road was very slippery. As he entered the freeway, he lost control of the car. It spun into the trees into the middle of the meridian strip. The car was crushed to the back of the passenger seat and he was killed instantly with the impact of the accident. We all think it won't happen to me. We are not invincible, and it can happen to us. We do not have to be speeding or hooning around to be involved in a fatal accident. It is very fortunate that he hit trees and not another car. Or he didn't have any passengers, because it would have been more than one fatality that night. A couple of months after that accident, we got a phone call about 3 o'clock in the morning telling us that my stepdaughter had been involved in an accident with her boyfriend at Rye. The boyfriend has since told us that he was speeding, The last time he looked at the speedo, he was doing 140 kilometres. When my husband saw the car at the wreckers, it was in just as bad a condition as Matt's fatal accident we attended in April. For some unknown reason, they both survived with minor injuries. And Bree was released the next day from hospital and Rob the day after, both feeling very sore and sorry for themselves. The good thing that has come out of that accident is that Rob has slowed down and he said he will not speed again. We were very lucky it was not a knock on the door from the police instead of a distressed phone call from her mother from the hospital. So please, don't take chances. You don't know what obstacles may be ahead. So when you drive, drive for life. Thank you.